Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Charity Tuesday of Houston. We have a problem. We're solving some problems with Charity Tuesday today, and let's get. I went big on the hope to raise amount. So let's see if we get there. We already have some things to do. We're at $89 raised. We're 10%, a little more than 10% of the way there. Thank you, Felix. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you, Graham Joyce, another Anonymous. Thank you, Travis Wright. Thank you, Dick P. Thank you, another Anonymous, another Anonymous, another Anonymous, another Anonymous. Got so many Anonymouses in here donating. Thank you so much for donating. Today we're raising money for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Every single dime from the advertisements to money you donate, every penny of it goes to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. YouTube doesn't get any of it. I don't get any of it. It all goes right there. So we're raising some money to help some folks who are suffering from a degenerative disease, and we could use help to find cures and treatments. So let's open up those pocketbooks. Let's help everybody. It's awesome. Thank you so much for jumping in and helping out. Now we have to get into what the show is actually about, which is, well, financial news and your questions. All right, so we have confirmation and all sorts of NFT stuff are happening. Get up there, buddy. I'm gonna close the door one sec. Now the dog's back in the room. Get closed. Okay, and we see that all sorts of .com 3.0 jobs are being offered at Grapeview, Texas, at GameStop, and we know that Loopring and their corporate partner are launching something in quarter 4. So we're in quarter 4. So we've got less than 3 months until we get some sort of news about what the NFT is. It is go time. Which date? Not a clue. But it's coming. And it has to be before January 1st because that's when the quarter ends. Other than that, I don't have any other news. So let's see what's on your brains. Brandon asks, long-term investments post-crash, what would you recommend long-term for a retirement brokerage account? When to buy? Have GME, AMC, and separate brokerage I use for volatile trades. I kind of do the same thing. I have, I've got several investment ways that I do. I've got my active accounts. So I use Schwab to deal with really shitty penny stocks because they don't judge me. So if I want to do I'm going to see what happens with this thing that's worth nothing, and maybe it will double tomorrow. I use Schwab for that. For my main active investments, I use Fidelity. And then I'll be honest, I still use Robinhood to do options because it's just quicker and easier with Robinhood than it is with others. And then for passive investing, I use Acorns. I would do the roundups and, a couple $1,000s a year from just swiping my debit card or credit card go in there. And then I do a few $100 a month into Vanguards, just an array of Vanguards that go from, low risk to high risk, and just do the spread on that. And I'll probably just be focusing on passive investing post MOAS. Why? Because then I can devote my brain to other things. I wouldn't mind to just turn off the financial brain and go skiing for 6 months of the year. And then, I don't know, sit on a sailboat in the Adriatic the other 6 months, something like that. So, yeah, so, not financial advice, not financial advisor, but Vanguard's, they've usually a pretty darn good returns. And if you're sitting on a pile of cash and you can get 7 or 8% a year yield out of those Vanguards, then you're living like a king. We can pop up the quick math here and go to bring up calculator. Where's calculator? My calculator's off. Calculator. There we go. All right, so if you have a 0.8 yield, right, and you are going to have, well, let's say you've got $4 million in there, right? You're looking at $320,000 a year in just dividends and interest. That's I can live off of that. That's 7 times what it costs Houston to live. I'm not a very expensive person, although I probably will be once I have the money to burn. If you're sitting on MOAS money that's absolutely insane, right? You sell $100 million in shares. What's 8% of 100 million? $8 million. So you're living like a king. You're living like a professional athlete, a star professional athlete with that kind of money. So it's not that much of a. It's not that hard. Once you have money, you just make money and just don't spend more than you have, and you're good to go. So, oh, son of a bitch. Of course, the next comment is turn off the intro. One of these days I'm going to get through a show and not have a freaking goof like that. Holy crap, while I was talking about Vanguard funds, we just raised another $300. Okay, goodness gracious. I got thank yous. All right, so there's Anonymous. Thank you, Gregory. Chiaramonte. I hope I said that right. Another Anonymous, thank you. OJ Allen, thank you. Tyler Connor, thank you. Kenny Conway, thank you. Garfield Connolly, thank you. Drew Saul, thank you so much. Oh, goodness. Wheat Wild, thank you. Corey, thank you. Oh, my goodness. We are halfway to our goal already, and we are like 7 minutes into the show. Man, you guys are awesome. This is Cherry Tuesdays just like make me so warm and bubbly inside. It's just, 750 Nut asks, any theory concerning the recent uptick in volcanic activity and earthquakes worldwide? Well, there's a couple of things that can affect volcanic upticks. One, and let's face it, global warming. Warming the Earth's surface and warming the ocean upon which sits on the Earth's surface does affect how plates move. If you have warming rock, it expands. If you've got warming permafrost, that water enters the atmosphere, and that all sorts of weird things happen with permafrost as it expands and contracts. And then we've got another thing where we've had in the Ring of Fire, and I guess we'll bring up the old Google Earth here. We'll zoom out from this mine that was out there in the middle of Montana. Okay, so Ring of Fire, Pacific Ring. We've got all these subduction zones where these huge trenches that run along. These are all subduction zones, and the entire Pacific is basically ringed with these subduction zones. They go all the way down the coast, And so as long as the plates are moving, more material is diving underneath those plates from the oceanic plates, and that's creating new material that can pop out and make a volcano go spew. In the Pacific, the only region that has not had a major earthquake since 2004 is the Pacific Northwest on this little Juan de Fuca plate. There's been no major earthquakes along the subduction zone here, and it's the only one. Every other subduction zone's had a major earthquake. Alaska, Chile, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Japan, Indonesia, Antarctica, they've all had them. And we have not had one along here, and so our volcano's fairly quiet. The Aleutian Islands popping off like crazy. Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia popping off like crazy. We've got a bunch of volcanoes getting active in Japan. We've got volcanic activity in Indonesia. And then we've got hotspot volcanoes that are all erupting at once, which, the hotspot volcanoes will erupt often. Hawaii is doing its thing. We've got Iceland. One of their hotspot volcanoes is going. We've got La Palma. Mount Etna just had a puny pop in Sicily. But those volcanoes are not related at all to subduction zones. They are channels that go straight to the mantle upon which these plates sit. And what can happen is when you have a major earthquake somewhere, essentially it can resettle the entire plate. So if you've got, say, a big earthquake, I don't know, in the South Pacific, or in New Zealand, or in Papua New Guinea, in one of these places, it can have a ripple effect that can pass through the entire plate eventually as it settles, and that can, make something that was once closed fracture and open, have magma come through. So you can get rumblies elsewhere that might trigger flooding of the magma chamber in something like Hawaii or in La Palma. There is probably a correlation to volcanic activity and earthquakes relating to the planet warming, simply because rock expands and contracts, and if it's warming, it's going to be expanding more, and you're just going to get movements, and it's like chain reactions. If you push on one end of a train car, the other end has to move. So, like, rock can be pretty flexible and lots of bendy things, but also, at times it's pretty rigid. And that's where we are. All right, Big Houston. Houston, who's your favorite pitcher of the 90s? Maddox, Ryan, Martinez, or Johnson? Well, my favorite pitcher of the 2000s is Jamie Moyer. Favorite pitcher of the 90s? Probably Randy Johnson, because that's who I got to watch. I got to go see Randy Johnson pitch a complete game, 19 strikeout, 1 hitter. That was pretty awesome in 97. And see the 95 run. That dude saved the team. And if he hadn't been injured in 96, the Mariners would have been absolutely dominant. The 96 Mariners had the single greatest offense in baseball history. Absolutely incredible. They had every single solitary position player with an OBS, I think, above 850, and 4 players above 1,000 for on-base plus slugging. They had Edgar Martinez in his prime, Griffey in his prime, Alex Rodriguez in his prime, Jay Buhner in his prime. They had Vince Coleman. Who else is there? First base would have been Paul Sorrento. Crap. What else we have in there? It's just, the lineup was stacked. Dan Wilson catching. Dan Wilson's best year, I think, was 96 as well. But the pitching was garbage. Oh, they sucked so bad. Team pitching was absolutely terrible, so they didn't make the playoffs that year. But Randy Johnson came back in 97, dominated, won another Cy Young, and they made it to the playoffs again. So, yeah, Johnson's the man. And I got to see him once at a Soundgarden concert. He was in the mosh pit with his camera, getting slammed around, taking pictures of the band. It's pretty awesome. Okay. Andrew Stewart, tell people, quit whining me, turn off the intro. In your assessment, what would the after effects look like following a catastrophic collapse of the Three Gorges Dam? Holy smokes. That would be absolutely awful. Let's bring it up here. Three Gorges Dam. Going to China. Okay, so you have Three Gorges Dam here. Bing! It's basically the largest civilian use of concrete in history. And the Yangtze River here, they had to displace 14 million people to make this lake, right? And there's even more people who live downstream of this. So if this dam fails, this sucker fails right here, I don't even know the cubic feet of water that are sitting behind it, but it's going to be, it's absolutely unfathomable. But you got, they're all dead. They're all dead. That dam fails. They're all dead. Everyone downstream, basically, for the entire length of this river, if they don't get to higher ground, and by higher ground, I mean, hundreds or 1,000 feet above the floodplain here. Dead, 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 dead. Everyone downstream of here, all the way to the ocean, is absolutely dead. Dead, 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 dead. Just follow that Yangtze River all the way to the ocean, and you might be getting to a point out here where you're in giant floodplains. You can see these oxbows here. So once a river starts meandering, depending on flooding events, previous channels of the river can get blocked off and make these oxbow lakes. And this is the floodplain. And we got a delta, an inland delta here. And this whole area will basically just become a giant temporary lake flooding everything. And people might be able to like not get smashed into bits by the water once you get to this inland delta. But all that water has to go somewhere, and it's going to continue downstream all the way through China, through probably tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people, until it reaches the South China Sea, and then yeah, it'll destroy the ports, it'll destroy everything. You got how many miles of destruction? Just estimate, we've got 500-600 miles of destruction, because the river meanders through all those canyons and valleys and things. It would be probably the worst man-made disaster in human history. Probably the largest single death event we've ever witnessed. Like it could kill more people in a matter of hours or days than possibly like World War II did in 5 years of insane conflict. Yeah, Three Gorges Dam failing would be just the worst thing you could possibly imagine. There's rumors about cracks and shoddy construction. One thing about the dam is it's not parabolically designed. So I found that interesting. Is a lot of dams, they're designed with a parabolic stress function. So you design it because it puts all the focal points in one area, and it makes things much stronger. That's why you see bridges are designed as a parabolic curve. And a lot of dams, but a lot of dams are straight like this. Like the Grand Coulee Dam is a straight dam, but like the Hoover Dam is a parabolic dam. I'll show you that one here. Hoover Dam. Flying around the world, going to the Hoover Dam. Boom. So the Hoover Dam's a parabolic dam. It's a parabolic stress function, and these parabolic functions are really strong and they last a long time. But it could be hard to design one for such a large, wide river. It's like the Grand Coulee isn't parabolic because it's going across a really wide river. Grand Coulee Dam. We fly around the world just having a damn good time. So here's the Grand Coulee. Grand Coulee is not a parabolic function either, but it's also American engineering. So there's a lot more standards and rules that go into that than other places around the world that don't necessarily have the same engineering standards. So sorry if you're a viewer in China and you live downstream of the Three Gorges Dam, have a bug out plan. Identify the hilltop that you think you can survive on. Woo! We're more than halfway to our goal at $416. Thank you so much. The MS Society thanks you as well. Thoughts on Wu-Tang NFT Dividend. So Friday's show, I had was under the impression that someone else had bought the Shaolin album, and I was like, oh, well, it's a good theory, Ryan Cohen, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, Ryan Cohen's posing with pictures wearing a certain identifiable black sweatshirt, and the DAO that had purchased the Shaolin album from the Wu-Tang album. There is a gentleman with a hood on wearing the exact same sweatshirt facing the other direction. And I am all about this speculative conspiracy theory. I think it's awesome. I think it is brilliant that what they can do is twofold. One, they can offer this NFT dividend that cannot be funged. It's non-fungible token, right? Not fungible. And they offer this thing, and the failure to delivers on those NFTs by hedge funds will cause the price to spike. It will also give Ryan Cohen and company the reason they need to go to the DTCC and say, hey, your system isn't working for us anymore. We're going to recall all our shares and we're going to remove them from your computers and we're going to go to a different exchange. And then they can offer a second NFT, which is they then encrypt all the shares into this NFT and offer the ERC20 tokens. And once those ERC20 tokens are offered and traded on, their own exchange, whether it's on Loopring itself on their Layer 2 network or it's through Gamerica, that they can now offer a platform and a template for other companies to do the same thing. So all of a sudden you've got tons of stocks that are being hit hard on the NASDAQ or on the OTC that might be like, you know what? We can get rid of all this naked shorting. We can possibly do, say, a reverse split and have ourselves a new listing on this exchange and not have to worry about shenanigans from brokers and hedge funds and clearinghouses and everyone else. Everything's on the blockchain and we're cool. So this might be one of the greatest, most fundamental upheavals of subverting the dominant paradigm that the financial sector has seen since the invention of stock markets, and probably since the fast system was invented in the late 60s, early 70s. So we're on the precipice of something really cool and unique, and what will represent the future. It was the future, man. In the year 2000. Okay. Deck P says Blue Origin looks like a moon rover is back on the menu. NASA was asked to find a second supplier, that and a space hotel. Have they the resources to do all this? Yeah. If you're an American citizen, you can take a tour of the Blue Origin facility in Renton, Washington. I know people who work there, so that's how I got a tour. I don't know if they do regular tours, but if you're a foreign citizen, you're not allowed to take a tour. Sorry. But if you're an American citizen, you can go to the Blue Origin facility and take a tour, and you can see just how badass that place is. It's incredible. They're vertically integrated. Like they tried doing bell housings for engines and contracting them out, and the stuff came back, not up to spec and came late. And so the powers that be are like, look, we've got all the money in the world. We'll just develop our own production line and make it ourselves. And so they're completely vertically integrated in that respect. It's really cool. I highly recommend taking a tour. I may have to do now a tour post successful launches that they did this summer. But my tour guide, though, she's spending a lot more time in Texas because she's the Capcom for the manned missions. So she's got to be in Texas at their launch site. But I'm excited to see the big boy, the New Shepard launch. Sometime in the next few months, should be launching out of, I think, Cape Canaveral is where they're building that. But the Space Hotel, they definitely have the resources to build that stuff. And they're going to have the heavy lifter available within the next few months. They can start taking pieces of that thing up there when it's ready. It's a huge ship. It's Saturn V size, but has a larger payload. What are your Hector Lloyd? What are your thoughts on Citadel versus SEC? Any implications of retail orders moving to lit exchanges, or is this just to limit high frequency trading? I don't think it limits high frequency trading. What it does is it puts high frequency trading on sort of a time scale that everyone else gets to follow. So Citadel's big thing, how Citadel makes money is by delaying your orders. They got 2 days to deliver, and they hope that in those 2 days they can find your stock cheaper somewhere else and pocket the difference. But they're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to execute the trade within, a few seconds or nanoseconds, and just shave the difference off on the 4-digit decimals and pocket that. But they'll wait the 2 days, they'll wait 4 days, they'll wait 2 weeks, they'll wait months sometimes before actually delivering the shares they owe you. And it's a nightmare for the clearinghouses, but Citadel makes so much money off of it that they don't care. They'll pay the fines for it, and it's just the cost of doing business. They don't give a rip. But the IEX exchange is still somewhat dark pool, not necessarily lit, but it has a standard that within like 350 nanoseconds or microseconds, I think, 350 microseconds, the exchange is made, and they shave off their 10,000th of a dollar, and that's how everyone's paid without using commission. That's what I'm looking for. And so this goes faster. It's better for the folks. And Citadel doesn't like it because it doesn't allow them to absolutely gouge us. The problem is also that that Citadel can't gouge us, but also protects Citadel from when stock prices spike. So the reason why a lot of these regulations exist is because certain brokerages and financial institutions, they will violate the law to a point that absolutely destroys their entire company. Think about loosening regulations on mortgage-backed securities. So we had in the 1990s, the Clinton administration was like, look, we want to be able to allow some people who are borderline lower income, might not have the best credit, but they do have the finances available to buy a home. So let's make it so that 5% of mortgages can be these adjustable rate mortgages, these subprime mortgages. And everyone's like, yeah, that worked. And housing prices, spiked a little bit, but allowed more people to enter the housing market. And then in 2004, the Bush administration was like, you know what? Let's change it from 5% to 20%. And everyone's like, whoa, all right, 20%. 20% of all mortgages are going to be these adjustable rate mortgages. And a lot even more people enter the housing market. And then in 2006, the Bush administration was like, you know what? Screw 20%. Let's take the regulations off entirely and allow as many subprime mortgages as humanly possible. Because why not? Let's let everybody make some money off this. And housing prices went through the roof. People were flipping homes like crazy because you could get these adjustable rate mortgages where your intro 2-year rate was like abysmal. And then if you flip the house in time, you got to avoid the reset where it went to like 9 or 10%. And then the mortgage price became absolutely like unsustainable. And it worked for 2 years. And then in 2008, a whole bunch of mortgages reset and the entire economy went and died. So a lot of times we have these regulations in place, not just to protect the consumer, but to protect the actual institution with the power and money from doing stupid things and being self-destructive. California deregulated their electrical market. Enron went absolutely nuts. People's power bills went from $100 a month to $1,200 a month. And within a year, Enron was bankrupt and didn't exist anymore. So, these regulations oftentimes go two ways. And Citadel, if Citadel hadn't managed to get everyone to turn off the buy button, Citadel would have probably obliterated themselves through loss of funding because of the way they delayed orders. You buy it $100, they're like, oh, I'll wait a second and then I'll deliver, wait for the price to go down. But the price went to 110 to 120 to 130. They're going, oh no, we have to maybe wait longer. And that's $300, that's $400, and they're just gonna lose money off every transaction that was made. That's why they're like, turn off the buy button, we're losing money. So everyone turn off the buy button because they were losing money. So the IEX doesn't even allow that option. They just like, order comes in, order goes out. Order comes in, order goes out. And they have technology to make this stuff really fast. And that's why Citadel was suing. And I don't think Citadel presented a very good case to the judge that what they were doing was protecting the investor. I think they managed to show that they were not protecting the investor at all, that they were screwing the investor and making a lot of money doing it. And so the IX program is much better. So I wouldn't doubt if Citadel is forced to adopt an algorithm as well that they can't manipulate. And that's the way the process orders from this point forward. They're gonna lose a huge source of their income, which is screwing over people, but I'm okay with that. Okay. Bull-ish, hey Houston, hope you had a good time with junk food and games. I thought you'd like to know about Saitama Inu coin. It's got a great future ahead. Another one of those shit coins that goes puny pop. I'm all about it. Justin, my head, gave me some coordinates. Let's see where we're going. Let's go somewhere on this Charity Tuesday show. Where are we going? Boom! Flying around the world. We are going southeast, Midwest. Where are we? We are in, looks like, bunkers? Where are we? We are in some sort of bunker place. Wyoming. We're in Wyoming. Oh. Oh. Wait, what? Oh, no. Wyoming, South Dakota. Where are you? What are you? What is this place? These look like chemical bunkers or munitions bunkers. A lot of them. Goodness gracious. That is a very large place full of bunkers. Provo, Wyoming. Huh. How many miles does this extend across? 5 miles of bunkers. 5.5 miles of bunkers. Crazy. Look at that. I don't even know the name of this place because no Wikipedia is popping up for it. Looks like some sort of government thing. The I can never say it right. Umatilla, Oregon. There is a huge like chemical warfare storage place in Umatilla, Oregon, right on the border with Washington. And here, there's like nothing but like sarin gas and other horrible things stored here for a long time. And apparently they decommissioned everything, but it's all bunkers just like that. Looks exactly the same. Bunker, 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 bunker. Yeah. I think this is the bunker where they store stuff, and then this is like a safety detonation area or something like that. But that one in Wyoming you sent me to looks even bigger. That's 5.5 miles across. How big are you? You are 5 miles. So no, maybe the same. About the same size. Crazy. But I think they decommissioned all this stuff. I don't think there's any of the sarin gas or other chemical weapons here stored here anymore. But this is surrounded by like lots of farms and towns. And yet Umatilla and Charleston and Hermiston, Oregon, where one of my favorite short-time mariners, Bucky Jacobson, was from. Man, Bucky Jacobson, I wish that man had been given a long career in the major leagues. What a redheaded monster that guy was. He would have been a 50 home run guy if given the chance. Are there more over here? Or is that just... This looks like a bombing range. Targets there. Little runways. This might be a World War II bombing range here. Cool. How come I not know about this? I've never seen that before. Another place to go in Oregon to go check things out. Definitely an old runway. Wonder if it's still active. Huh. Finding things. Finding things in the middle of alfalfa fields. I drive past that place a couple times a year on I-84. Wild. Well, all right. Cool. Excellent spot there, Justin My Head. Thank you. We're at $445 donated. Let's do some thank yous. Scroll down and thank some folks here. Who was the last one that I had thanked? Where are you? Wheat Wild. Yeah, Wheat Wild. We got CR Rory. Thank you. Anonymous, thank you. Anonymous, thank you. Anonymous, thank you. Anna Rulnick, thank you so much. Lucitano1149, thank you. Andrew Stewart, thank you. Bullish, thank you. Space Monkey, thank you. Another anonymous, thank you so much. Goodness gracious. Another anonymous. Artemis, and exclusive 605. Woo! We are almost 5/8 of our way to our goal to raise $800 or more for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society and help a lot of people. It's the best. Yeah. All right. Oh, I see Shiba Inu is going bonkers. It touched 5 today, didn't it? Shiba Inu, where are you? Shiba Inu is currently at 0.00004748 with, what was the high today? The high, almost 5. We're at 0.49 something was the high today, so far today. That's nuts. That helicopter ride is looking more and more expensive right now. But I'm okay with that. I still have some. And I'm waiting for the arbitrage of when it moves to Robinhood, because Robinhood's offering wallets coming up around the time that they start offering Shiba Inu. And so I'm going to take that and I'm going to dump it into Robinhood, and I'm going to make a whole bunch of money off the arbitrage, just like my buddy did when it moved to Coinbase Pro. So that arbitrage is going to be so delicious. Hum, nom, 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 nom. And I'm going to use that to just spend the entire winter skiing, I think. Yeah, because why not? Okay. I'm so far behind in chat. I basically... Oh, well, it wouldn't... All right. So it won't let me go back up to the top. So I'm stuck with... going with... I'm still like not even to 1:30 when the show started. Travis Wright asks, Houston, do you think technology for lab-grown meats will ever be able to replace factory farms for meat production? Happy birthday. Also, return off your intro. I was obviously came before before I started talking and messing with stuff. It's possible. I'm not in favor of factory farms. I'm all about small scale farms, and farms in places where it makes sense to grow animals. So like let's go to Google Earth. Let's go to, you guys remember when the Malheur Wildlife Refuge got taken over in Oregon, out here in Burns, Oregon. So here's Burns, Oregon. And the wildlife refuge is just outside of town. Let's see, here's the airport, and the wildlife refuge is out here on these lakes, I believe. So the wildlife refuge is out here, and this is a very important kind of wetland for migratory birds. So lots of birds come from all over the world as they're passing north and south, and they rest here, and they eat up and they get water, and then they continue on their way. So certain times a year in the fall and spring, you'll get tons and tons and tons of birds, and all sorts of people come from all over the world to watch the birds. And you can see there's some irrigated farm fields out here. It's a kind of a green area. But when you get outside the irrigated zones, you get into high desert. And this is very dry desert. It takes about 200 acres to feed one cow for a year. So we're looking at it takes a third of a square mile of land to feed one cow for a year out here in Eastern Oregon, where these ranchers are. And the beef that comes out of it is garbage. It is dog food. It is not good beef. It's not good leather. They're really raggedy cows. They're malnourished. And you have to supplement their food with corn and stuff that's grown elsewhere. So these vanity ranchers that are in the high desert ranching cattle, it's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable way of raising cattle. It takes a lot of land to do it, and it takes a lot of government subsidies to keep their lifestyle available. They've got to use tons of federal land to graze their cattle, and it's pretty terrible area to like grow cows. I'm sure if you were like one family with your cows out in several on 50,000 acres or whatever, you'd do fine. But for the most part, the ranch lands out here are completely arid and absolutely bupkis. They grow raggedy cattle. You go up here to the Skagit River Valley in Green, Washington, and oops, let's get here. Mount Vernon, Cedro-Woolley. There's lots of like tulip fields out here. It takes less than 1 acre to feed a cow for an entire year because of how lush and green and how much everything grows. You get out into the plains of Nebraska. So get out here to Nebraska, and in Nebraska, it takes about 2 acres to grow a cow. So, Nebraska's got some arid places, but in here, it takes about 2 acres of land to grow 1 cow for a year, and it's a lot more sustainable and is a better, more efficient use of land than trying to grow corn somewhere else, ship it across the world, and fatten up a bunch of cows that have basically been eating like sagebrush all day long in the high deserts of Nevada and Oregon. This is just dry, arid places that are not, these grazing animals, they probably wouldn't survive if you just left them there naturally. They would just dry up and die because the water resources aren't there, the food resources aren't there. So you have to set up factory farms where you just put these cows into barns and just shovel grain into them that's grown elsewhere. And it's not a sustainable method of doing that. So I prefer small scale factory farms over the big meat production places. But the lab grown meats are interesting because they're taking weird mushroom proteins and soy proteins and stuff, and they're putting them together. But those also, they have to come from somewhere, and they have to use up farm fields to make that stuff. I'm very curious about the future of lab meat, in that they take stem cells, like muscle stem cells, and they just feed them nutrients, and they grow from there, and they grow into like steaks, and they taste like steak. They're basically like weird organs that are grown in a petri dish, and that might be a future that we have for a lot of meats. Maybe not necessarily like your Wagyu beef steaks or something, but stir fry burger, things like that. It's actual beef, but it's just a chunk of beef grown in a lab. Be weird, man. Very weird. Okay. Good question, though. B. Houston was thinking about investing in Loopring. Good investment. Also, did you hear rumors of GameStop working with Facebook on the metaverse? I've not heard any rumors of GameStop working with Facebook on the metaverse, so I have no idea about that. Is Loopring publicly traded? Are they? I have no idea. If anyone knows Loopring, I don't know if they're publicly traded. Might be a good investment if they are. I don't know if they've done an IPO yet. Might be something to look into. Chris Wasachuk wants me to do another show with the Gherkin. Heck yeah, I'll do another show with the Gherkin. Says your wrinkles collide like neutron stars and create gold. I'm like that weird chemical used to separate gold from schmutz. It smells like farts. Hydrogen sulfide, baby. That's what's coming out of those things. Beans Brigade Gaming read up on the flash crash of 2010 and how one man brought the market down $1 trillion in like 20 minutes. Yeah, that was like a high frequency trading cascade or something that happened on that. Oh, it's a while ago since I read about it. I'm going to update my brain because I don't remember exactly the conditions, but some sort of algorithm got put into the high frequency trading computers that just caused other high frequency trading computers to freak out, and it's like sell. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna, if you're a good hacker, you buy your puts on a bunch of companies, and then you get some sort of cascade attack like that, and bing, make your money. Okay. I'm still so far behind in the chats. I'm like an hour behind now. Goodness gracious. We're at 526. Ooh, $274 to go until we meet our goal of $800 for the Multiple Sclerosis Society. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay. Call Ludi. Are you still holding metamaterial? Yes, I'm still holding metamaterial. Bought at 560 last month. Are we diamond handing? Well, a lot of things are happening in this quarter. Three big things at least, dividend wise. NFT dividend from GameStop, in whatever capacity that is happening sometime this quarter, in the next couple of months. Metamaterials, the Torchlight preferred share dividend is happening this quarter. I still don't know if it's going to be a cash dividend or if they're going to roll over into shares of an oil company. We don't know, but it has to happen by December 31st at midnight. And then BBig and their merger, they're going to be giving out stock as a dividend in a new company that does something with crypto. And that's happening sometime in December as well. So we got three big pops from those guys, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with them all. Usually the mantra is buy on rumor, sell on rumor. Buy on rumor, sell on news. So if there's rumors something happening, that's when you buy and you gather everything up. And once the news happens, then you sell and you get out. So oftentimes you'll see like the days that a dividend is announced, that's when you start to see the price drop on a particular stock, because that's when everyone's like, oh, sweet, time to get out, sell, boom, done. But with the way these dividends work, is that they're the non-fungible ones especially, is it can result in lots of failure to deliver in the dividends, and the price of not only the preferred share going up, but the price of the stock itself going up as positions are forced to close because they failed to meet the requirements of the payments in lieu. And so we saw Overstock, like, they made their announcement in the news and delivery, but we didn't see the price spike until 3 months later. So it might be a buildup for BBig and Metamaterial that are months after they deliver on their NFT or their preferred share dividends. Whereas GameStop, theirs is a different animal altogether because they're so overshorted and so heavily invested in by retailers that we might see a quicker pace to the price grow on theirs. Okay. All right. Okay. Other people are saying do more DT in the Saitama token. This is the Saitama Inu or this. I looked briefly at it once, and there was a Saitama token and there was a Saitama Inu coin, and there's two of them. So which one? Yeah. Christopher Sawchuk. I don't know, guys. Diarrhea coin has a ton of liquidity, but its use case is solid. It's double flush, man. Opinion on the legislation to tax unrealized capital gains. This is the wealth tax. I think it makes sense for extremely wealthy investors. If you're a day trading person or a small investor who's looking to retire, I don't think it should apply to them. But I think if you've got hundreds of millions, billions, tens of billions, or hundreds of billions of dollars in wealth, I'm all for it. You can see folks like Jeff Bezos go from a few $1 billion 10 years ago to $200 billion today, and they're paying no taxes. And, you know, their company is paying no taxes. And they're utilizing the infrastructure that our tax dollars pay for. The roads, the ports, the trains, the airports, the education, the satellite tracking, the GPS, the weather satellites, the internet that we invented. They're using all of that stuff and not contributing a dime to its maintenance. And they're making billions and trillions of dollars off of this stuff. I think it's very important that, you know, the wealthiest have some sort of skin in the game in investing and maintaining these things. So I think it's great for super wealthy people. I think it's a burden for folks that are just trying to save for a simple retirement. So I don't think it should apply to them, but I think it should apply to the filthy rich, to the, you know, the 0.1% that controlled 80% of the wealth in the country. I mean, the 3 richest people in America own more assets than the bottom 50%, which is mind-boggling. Like, the 3 richest people in America own more than 165 million Americans. Think about that. And most of them don't pay taxes. Those 3, they don't really pay taxes at all. They've got all sorts of ways of getting around that. So, Black Udon, I do think that it's a great idea for those super wealthy. And, you know, if I get super wealthy after MOAS, tax me, man. Get it from me. I'll pay 3% in unrealized capital gains every year. I don't care. I'll be rich. Okay. Clay Chambliss, maybe dumb question. Is that 8% yield from Vanguard, that taxed? Only what you cash out. So if you roll over, like you get dividends and you tell your broker to take those dividends and reinvest them, then that part's not taxed. If you take those dividends and spend it, then that part's going to be taxed. So it depends on how you set up your account and how much money you're going to require every year. But if you take, you know, if you get $320,000 in dividends out of that Vanguard and you spend that $320,000, you're going to be taxed on those $320,000 you take out. But if you tell your brokerage to reinvest it, then you're good to go. Okay. Hey, Houston, is there a way to donate from Canada? You should be able to click on the doohickey, the donation thingy. There should be on the chat, there's like 2 hands that are holding kind of like this. You click on that sucker and that should allow you to donate. Unless there's some sort of rule, because I see euros and pounds coming through on this. So, and yeah, it looks like even rupees, some people have donated. So yeah, hopefully Canadian dollars can come through in the same way. Okay. Oop, got another coordinate. Let's coordinate it up. Let's break it up with another coordinate. See where we're going. Ding, 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 ding. Control V. Enter. No, we don't like it. Oh, that's because, is it west? Is that where we're supposed to be going? Hopefully west. If not, we'll try east. We're on the East Coast. We're going to a neighborhood. We are in a neighborhood. We are on some street. If this isn't where we're supposed to go, then perhaps, oops, we went to a different street. Turn, turn, turn. There's a Rite Aid. Turn. I'm going to go that way. Go that way. Okay. You wanted me to go over here, so I got to go that way. There we go. Got some round windows. What we got going on here? So, wine and liquor. Rite Aid. Some nice terracotta up there. But I don't know. About here is where that was supposed to be. We got round windows. That's boring. Got Rite Aid. We got Hudson Valley, something or other. Quinn's Restaurant. So maybe it wasn't west you wanted. Maybe it was east. Let's go somewhere east. Let's see where that takes us. Top of a mountain. Nope, must have been that town you wanted, because I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. There, see Rory. Nothing interesting. West or east. Oh well. Back to Big Houston. Sometimes they just don't come through the way they should. Okay. M40s. What are the odds of one of the volcanoes causing a break in the islands and cause a tsunami? Well, these volcanoes each have, a chance every few 100,000 years of having a major calving of one of their flanks. Think about steep volcanoes like Mount St. Helens. So, go here to Mount St. Helens. Let me get myself oriented north because my brain just likes that more. And we got, Mount St. Helens here. So Mount St. Helens had what is the largest recorded landslide in human history as a result of the inflationary event, the magma moving into its magma chamber. And to the north, it lost the entire side of its volcano and the top blew off, just blunk into space, basically. And 200 square miles of land was essentially just destroyed by the pyroclastic flow and the debris that just washed down at 60 to 100 miles of an hour as it cascaded through here and did all sorts of damage. Now, these steep volcanoes, they can blow their top and have landslides like this, I don't want to say fairly frequently, I mean, in the course of several thousand years. And then the dome, the magma dome here that's slowly building, in, a few hundred years, it'll look like one of the other Northwest volcanoes again, where it's nice kind of stratovolcano with a nice peak, like Mount Adams or Mount Rainier up here. And Mount Rainier blew its top, who knows how long ago, but I got to get it from the view that I can see it from, which is this way. Here we go. So, you see Mount Rainier's shape? Come on. You look at Mount Rainier from like where I live, you'll see a little nub right here. That's called Mount Tahoma. Now, there was a cataclysmic eruption sometime in Mount Rainier's past where if you could imagine, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, you can imagine Mount Rainier sits at 14,000 feet. That's, pretty tall mountain. If you can imagine taking the far west flank and having it make a parabola, and the far east flank where Mount Tahoma is, having it make a parabola, at one time it was thought to be Mount Rainier was about 18,000 feet tall, which puts it at the height of Mount Kilimanjaro, pretty close to like Mount McKinley. And it had a cataclysmic eruption that just blew the top off this mountain and probably caused heinous landslides off of one of its flanks. And then this is the lava dome that essentially built up afterwards to 14,000 feet post cataclysmic eruption of the 18,000 foot historic volcano that was there. You can look at Crater Lake. I gotta go get my north back here again. Go down to Oregon. We can get down here to Crater Lake, Mount Mazama. And this was a mountain that was several thousand feet tall and had a cataclysmic eruption, is now the deepest lake in the United States at well over 1,000 feet deep. And this thing went kabloomo and just blew itself apart. And it probably was a stratovolcano shaped much like Mount Rainier at one time. And now it's just a hole in the ground. When you have very water-rich areas and lots of water can get trapped in the magma chamber, it can be a really explosive volcano. And you can get just crazy things like this happening. Santorini, Greece was the same type of thing. Santorini. Yep. Let's go there. Take me to Santorini. Da, 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 da. So the island of Santorini, this was a volcano. Is a volcano. And it had a cataclysmic eruption because guess what? It's on the ocean, so there's lots of groundwater. Boom, boom. Huge eruption. Gigantic tsunami probably washed all throughout the Mediterranean and wiped out things a long time ago. And this is the caldera of that ancient volcano. Krakatoa. Go to Krakatoa in Indonesia, which is a little island between Java and Sumatra. And this in 1886, what year it was? Shoot, where's my Krakatoa book? I may have lent it to somebody. Tesla. I think I lent it to my dad. Never got it back. So Krakatoa had an eruption in 1886 because of all the ocean water that came in contact with the magma chamber, and its explosive eruption caused a tsunami that wiped out at least 30,000 lives. And so you can see, like, this was the island of Krakatoa, and now this is the new magma chamber that's arising as a result. It just blew itself up, and the tsunami went around the world. And they measured the tsunami, like, Krakatoa is out here between the Indian and Pacific Oceans, right? They actually measured the tsunami all the way in tide charts in London. So the tsunami made itself around the world. The explosion was so loud that it went around the world 4 times. Can you imagine being, like, I don't know, in a farm field in Missouri or Kansas or something, and you're sitting there in your farm field working away, and you just hear boom. You're like, what the hell was that? That's weird. And then, I don't know, 11 hours later, you hear boom. What the hell was that? And it does it 2 more times, because that's how many times the shockwave, that explosion, went around the world. Absolutely crazy. All right. Oh, no, I'm getting the warning that I'm running out of data, or the data's bad. I'm sorry if it is. So we can have cataclysmic eruptions that cause tsunamis like that. Well, La Palma is the one everyone's scared about, because La Palma is a hotspot volcano, but it's a very steep hotspot volcano. Canaries? No, sorry. I keep going to Cape Verde by accident. Same thing. Those are volcanoes, hotspot volcanoes. We got La Palma out here. It's erupting. And this flank of La Palma, when was it? Like 40 years ago, slipped 13 feet. Just went runk 13 feet towards the ocean. The entire rift zone here split. You can actually walk the crack of the rift zone that goes up the mountain. And these shield volcanoes, this is where most of the eruptions happen, around these rift zones. So the magma intrudes, it causes the mountain to move up, and when it moves up, it will have a fracture somewhere along one of those rift zones. And when it fractures, the magma will move down the channel, and you'll get an eruption from there. So the main part of the volcano is up here where it's really steep, but this rift zone down here is where most of the lava eruptions happen. So you can see all the cinder cones here, and the current eruption is flowing down here and wiping out a whole bunch of homes and farm fields and stuff. But this flank, it's feared that this flank can give way and just have a cataclysmic slide, and it'll go like 200 miles an hour on its way into the ocean, and will displace, cubic miles, like just miles and miles and miles, 50 billion tons or something like that of material fall in the ocean, and would cause a tsunami that would essentially go across the across the Atlantic. And in Miami, Florida, you'd get a tsunami wave that's 300 feet high. And that's, 300 feet's the tallest point in all of Florida. So you'd have a tsunami that could wash over the entire state, possibly. And those mega tsunamis would be absolutely just monstrous. And it would spread to Europe. It would go to Africa. It would go to South America. It would just inundate everywhere along the coast of the Atlantic. And it would kill lots of people. But we've got history of these things happening. La Reunion's had it happen. So La Reunion out here in the Indian Ocean, in Mauritius, they've had cataclysmic landslides that caused big old tsunamis along Madagascar. I've got historical records of. We know that we've had catastrophic landslides in the Hawaiian Islands. This here is the debris field from when half of Molokai fell into the ocean, and they found rock 500 miles away from Molokai from the turbulent landslide as it continued underwater for 500 miles. And it probably generated a tsunami that hit Alaska that was upwards of 500 to 1,000 feet high. So they can happen. It's on a scale of hundreds of thousands of years per one of these volcanoes. If you get enough of those volcanoes around the world, you'll have lots of chances for that to happen. As far as we know, one of those hasn't happened yet in recorded human history. So it may have happened when we were like primates or humans that didn't quite have language or written language yet. But, they'll happen. We've got the geological evidence that it happens. So there you go. Mega tsunamis, man. They're bitching. You have to respect the cataclysms that Earth can offer. Okay. PGS Houston, I grabbed one share of Spurt at $45. Then it changed to Gree. Last week I bought one share of Gree at $22. When the order went through, my cost share now shows $188. Thoughts? You got me, man. Let's see here. 188. What was the... Oh, I closed my calculator again. Why do I close my calculator? Open up. Okay, 188 divided by 22. Oops, no, divided by ding dong. 188 divided by 22. It's not perfect because I think it was a 7-to-1 is what Spurt. It was 7 Spurt to 1 Gree or something. So that's 8.54. So that doesn't fit that. I don't know what's going on there. Is it one of those weird things where it's so shorted they couldn't find the actual shares? And that's what the cost basis is now? I don't know, but on paper it's going to look like you have a huge loss. So there's a tax break for you. Good job. I don't know. Okay. What about Yellowstone? Yellowstone is a hotspot volcano, and it erupts about every 600,000 to 1 million years, and we're around 600,000 years since it's the last eruption. So I've talked about this in the past, but the Yellowstone hotspot volcano used to be in the Pacific Ocean. So the North American continent is moving over the plates of the Pacific, and those are diving underneath. So out in the Pacific was the hotspot volcano, and probably had made an island chain or something like that. And then North America hit it. And when North America hit it, we ended up having the hotspot volcano just make flood basalts like crazy in eastern Washington, eastern Oregon. So, we're looking at 50,000 square miles of land covered in several thousand feet thick of flood basalts, just oozing, just constantly, just lava coming out everywhere all the time, just lava, 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 lava. Because the oceanic rock is really, really fluid. It's not very viscous. It likes to flow. It can flow long distances. The eruptions were long lasting, and these flood basalts, they just cover huge areas. So that was about 16 million years ago. And then the continent moved a few times since then. And the hotspot eventually worked its way down through into Idaho and made craters of the moon. We have ancient flows visible here. And the hotspot worked its way, the way the continent was moving and twisting, worked its way back up until we get into Yellowstone. And now, rather than being the thin oceanic rock that's really easy for the magma to break through because the lava melts really easily, it's nice and fluid, it flows really easily, you are now under 100 miles of thick continental rock that does not like moving very easily. So it's really hard, it's really viscous, it's herky-jerky, just and it moves really slowly, and the inflationary periods take a long time for the magma chamber to fill, and tons of groundwater gets in there, and when it finally does have an eruption, it's just a gigantic explosive event that can basically change weather patterns for like a decade. So the last time it erupted was probably about 600,000 years ago. And the amount of ash that came out of it was between 1,000 and 2,000 cubic kilometers. So imagine a kilometer, right? Imagine another kilometer. Imagine another kilometer. Cubic kilometer. Huge, giant amount of material. 1 kilometer of ash is what Mount St. Helens did May 18th, 1980. Now multiply that by 1,000 to 2,000 times. That's how much ash came out of the Yellowstone volcano 600,000 years ago. And this ash absolutely just coated. We're talking, the ash that exploded out of here dumped 30 feet of ash somewhere in Nebraska. Like, it's nuts. I have an opal claim in central Wyoming that's made of opals that all this ash fell into a pond and just opalized everything. And the opals are the size of cars. They're huge. It's the only place in the world you can find opals like that. And it's all thanks to the Yellowstone volcano. And this ash covered, basically a third of all of North America in deep ash, and plunged the world probably into an ice age for a decade or so as it blocked out the sun in the northern hemisphere. So if Yellowstone blows, you need to move to the southern hemisphere, because it's going to be an ice age up here for like a decade, and you won't see the sun for years. It's going to be miserable. In 1815, and I wish Leaky Mountain was in here because I always get which mountain. There's Toba and Tambora. And I can't remember which one. One of them is the supervolcano in Indonesia. The other one is the volcano that erupted in 1815. And that erupted 20 cubic kilometers of ash, and it made it the year without a summer. It snowed in the summer in Boston that year because the temperature just never got above like 50 degrees Fahrenheit in the northern hemisphere, because it blocked out so much of the sunlight all over the world from the ash event that came out from that. But yeah, that's what's up. If Yellowstone goes, if Long Valley goes, just move to the southern hemisphere for 10 years, and because everyone else can get buried in snow and they're going to die of starvation, and that'll be it. Okay. Maddox. People talk about Maddox in here? I love Maddox. Oh, Greg Maddox, yeah. All right. The pictures. We're talking about the pictures. Okay. Oh, holy shit. As I talk about volcanoes, we just raised another $500. We have met our goal. We can keep going. We're almost at $1,000 for multiple sclerosis society. Time to do a bunch of thank yous. Okay, so we got the Andrew Stewart. We got the Bullish. Space Monkey. Anonymous. Okay, we got Anonymous. We got Artemis. Oh, shoot. Where did... sorry. The whole chat just reset and I lost track of everyone again. I left off... Okay, Exclusive 605 was the last one. Josh Walker, thank you. Julius 305, thank you. Anonymous, thank you. Stonk Mom 67, thank you so much. Anonymous, Ray Track, The Oat Milk Man. Thank you. That's a good name. Fer Garcia, thank you so much. Anonymous, thank you. Anonymous, thank you. Ricardo Pestic, I hope I said that right. Thank you so much. Anonymous, thank you. Deck P, thank you again. Anonymous, thank you. Anonymous, thank you. Ken is Pay in Me, thank you. Anonymous, holy shit, Anonymous, thank you so much. That's a big one from Anonymous. Whoa, wowee. Watson, thank you so much. Goodness gracious, guys. You folks, you just blowing my mind. $959 so far. We're an hour into the show. We've blown through the goal and raising money like crazy for the Multiple Sclerosis Society. Thank you. This is awesome. Yeah. Woo! Okay. I'm so far behind I'm like an hour and a half behind the chat. I'm trying to get all your questions because, well, now it won't let me go. Like if I scroll down, it like eliminates the chat above it. So if you ask a question prior to 1:54 p.m., I won't see it. So, okay. BBR, GME have to pay $200 per share to recall it? Or how will it work? No, the recall basically is, right now there's an electronic series of shares that are held inside of a computer at the DTCC. And that's the central computer where all the trades are going from. So they basically assign ownership out of that computer to various brokerages, and the brokerages then assign ownership to their bit for their customers. Now, what GameStop would say is, hey, you're going to give us that computer program that has our shares. You're going to give it back to us. And we're going to take those shares and we're going to have it on a new exchange. And we're going to then assign the ownerships to everyone that has all the shares in that fast system through our new exchange. So, yeah. Berkshire Hathaway stock, what the shit? That's what's happening to Berkshire Hathaway. I'll look at that in a second. So GameStop's not going to be paying for that stuff. They're just going to be removing their shares from the service in that computer and then putting those into their new exchange, basically. Hey, buddy, your little licky mouth, your little loud licky mouth. Yo, you're a sweet dog. Yes, you are. Okay. Berkshire Hathaway stock. What the fuck? What's going on with Berkshire Hathaway? All right. I got to go to scene. I got to go to Chrome and that one. Done. Okay. Got to turn off. Sorry, one sec. Turn off Google Earth. Bam. And bring that up. What's happening with Berkshire Hathaway? Oops. I should do their stock. Oh, it's B shares. I want A. I don't want their B shares. I want their A shares. BRKA. Why don't you do it? BRKA. There you go. Wait, what? Nothing's happening with Berkshire. Holy shit, after hours. No. It just, what? How did it just jump $200,000 after hours? What the fuck? What is going on with that? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. None. Why would a giant stock like that go up 50% in after hours? What the what? What the what? I have no idea, man. What is going on with Berkshire Hathaway? Anyone have an answer? That is crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I don't know. I'm absolutely, I have no words to describe why a stock like Berkshire Hathaway would jump 50% after hours. Unless something weird is going on, man. Oh my goodness. That's, man. Huh. I don't know. How much is trading after hours? Yahoo's not listing that. Maybe if okay, open up the trading app on the phone. Berkshire Hathaway. Yeah. There's like no volume. So, I mean, it's not something that has lots of shares trade. Like Berkshire Hathaway is so expensive. Each candle you get is like 15, 10, 30 shares. After hours, 3 shares. 0, 0, 0, 0. So 3 shares sold, and that's enough to push Berkshire Hathaway stock up $220,000. That's crazy. Yeah, so 1 share sold at 1 o'clock for $437,000. 0 shares sold at 1:10. 3 shares sold for $661,000 at 1:20 p.m. Pacific time, so 4:20 p.m. on. So some stoner at 4:20 on the East Coast managed to sell 3 shares of Berkshire Hathaway for $661,000, and no shares have traded since. That's crazy. I wonder if someone just like put a limit order in there and just set it and forget it, and then some computer was like, bye. Those 3 shares just pumped the value of Berkshire Hathaway, the whole value of the company, up 50% in one trade for 3 shares. That is that is wild, man. That is absolutely wild. It's crazy. You'd think, like, you'll see weird blips like that in some stocks. There was a blip sometime in like February where somebody obviously looked at the price, put in a limit order, shaving off a digit, and they picked up like 10 shares of Berkshire Hathaway for $40,000 a share. So the trading day is like boom, $40,000, and someone made a screaming deal off of someone else's mistake of misplacing a digit, and Good for them, man. Someone else just did the opposite. They somehow, that's such a weird number. 661504 is such a weird number for that to be what was put into a limit order or something where someone bought or sold at that price. Just nuts. So weird. I wonder if there were no limit orders going and that was the only one. I don't know. I can't explain why that happened. That's so weird. That's so weird. Huh. All right. Well, I wonder what that does for the value. How much, what's his butt's worth now? Yeah, Buffett. 10 stocks make up Warren Buffett's portfolio. Oh, his value just went up 50%. So Warren Buffett's net worth. Let's look at that. Go back to scene. I can't spell Warren. Warren Buffett net worth. 105 billion. So in one trade of 3 shares of stock, Warren Buffett's net worth went up $50 billion. So some rando trading 3 shares of stock just made Warren Buffett $50 billion. That's crazy. Man, so weird. Not bad for a 91-year-old man. Absolutely just, what a weird moment. Crazy. Man. All right. What the heck, man? So weird. Okay. Dwayne D. AMC and GME are on the lowest it will be for a long time. Cycle from 319 to 62 on AMC is the exact cycle as 913, upcoming 1123, early Thanksgiving. The entire market is in an AI algorithm. Get ready. Quite possibly, man. Yeah. That's, I wouldn't doubt that if there's algorithmic trading involved. I mean, computers are doing the work, so computers doing a thing. Yeah. I wonder what Berkshire Hathaway shares are going to be tomorrow morning. I bet you see 50% drop in the price of shares. If you could only buy puts and calls after hours, oh man. You could buy some ridiculous penny put on Berkshire Hathaway at a price that's nothing, and the volatility alone would just cause that sucker to spike. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Rusty Nail asks, Houston, is it possible for humans to pass through Van Allen belt radiation belts in common spacecraft? You know, I'm asking, without specifically asking, moon, cough, cough. Yeah, as long as you're shielded. They were worried they didn't have the shielding right when they actually put the first astronauts to the moon. And so that was a problem for everyone. They're like, we don't know if it's going to cook them or not. They're just going to get cooked by high energy radiation, and then they're just going to send 3 dead guys around the moon and back. But the common spacecraft will probably have the same shielding. You're looking at things that can block highly charged particles. Looking at things can block high radiation, so Faraday cages, foils, things like that can block that stuff. And so common spacecraft will be able to have those things in it. Eve Doster says her former place of work, best job ever with this Google Earth coordinates. Let's go there. I like traveling the world with you folks. Here we go. We're back in Yellowstone. We're close to it. There's a ranch. Where are we? Triangle X Barn, Triangle X Ranch. It's a beautiful country out there, man. Look at that. Look at that pretty place. Gonna get covered with thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of cubic miles of ash someday. But right now it's gorgeous. Fantastic. Great place to go. Shumalaya Kitchen. Hello. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. All right, 988 bucks. Awesome. Emma Society. Thanks you. I thank you. You guys are fantastic. You guys are awesome. Drake Kimball. Houston, what do you think of the high frequency radio bursts we've been detecting in space? Where could they be originating from? Well, we know where they're originating from. They pinpointed it to some spot pretty near the galactic black hole in the center of our galaxy. But we can't image it with anything else. We're just seeing these weird bursts from it, but we're looking at it with all the other spectrums we have in visible, infrared, microwave, X-ray, gamma. We can't see it at all. So there's just these bursts coming from something, and we have no idea what it is because we can't look through the dust in that area at the right wavelength to be able to see it because it's just blocking whatever the object is. So it's weird. I don't know if you guys can read up on it, but there's these weird bursts coming from a spot pretty close to the galactic center, very near Sagittarius A, which is the big black hole at our center, and we can't see what's coming out of it, where it's coming from. Okay. Sincere 206. Hey, someone 206. How can you prepare to make the arbitrage switch from Coinbase to Robinhood with my Shiba coin? For it to work, Robinhood said they're getting everybody crypto wallets. So it's going to be a crypto wallet. You're going to be sending your Shiba Inu coins from Coinbase to Robinhood on that wallet and then selling. That's what we did when it went from when Coinbase popped up. I had everything in crypto.com and I sent it over, but I missed it. I was too late and there was too much volume happening and my trade didn't happen. But my buddy made like 30 grand in just that arbitrage between the two platforms because Coinbase released gave access to everybody for Shiba Inu coins, but didn't have the coins in their company wallet. So the arbitrage was insane. And folks bought it like at one point it was 80x. So there are some folks that sold that had gotten Shiba Inu in crypto.com, transferred over to Coinbase, and they made 80 times on their money in an instant. Just crazy. Okay. Mount St. Funk 9. I used to live next to a weather station, quotes. When 9/11 happened, about 50 black SUVs with tinted windows showed up, and the area was heavily guarded. Now we know it's a bomb shelter. There you go. Probably where they stuffed Dick Cheney or something in his undisclosed location. Okay. I'm God's people. I'm still like everyone asking me about Berkshire Hathaway. I finally got to that point. Berkshire Hathaway is crazy. Is Missouri good for grazing? Missouri is fantastic for grazing. It's green and lush. That's what you want. Okay. LRC, Loopring, crypto. That's how you invest in Loopring? Is that what they did? They just sold a coin to raise their money? That makes sense. If you want to invest in Loopring, you just buy the coin, I guess. Okay. Everyone's freaking out about it's just scrolling. It's like, check out Berkshire, check out Berkshire, check out Berkshire, check out Berkshire. Yeah. Eric Shaw says, can I donate Shiba coin? Not through this platform. I'm sure there's ways you can donate crypto to charities. You could just contact the charity directly to do it, and they have to set up a wallet if they have it. Okay, landslide questions. We got to that. We can go through that one. Peter Smith says the Be Big Friday, the 22nd, was the date of record. So you had to own shares in Be Big to be able to qualify for the dividend as of last Friday. Project Sun says, Houston, I love your confidence that GME is definitely doing an NFT divvy. I wouldn't mind at all, but doubt GME wants to be the reason the market tanks. Can you imagine? All news is good news, man. So marketing is marketing. All people are going to talk about is GameStop, 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 GameStop. And that's going to put it in their minds. And they're going to drive past GameStops and go, I'm going to go in there and buy. I'm going to check out GameStop.com. They will see growth in sales that it won't matter. It won't matter at all. They're going to be making money. They're going to fundamentally change the way the markets operate. And that is more important. Sometimes you got to rip that Band-Aid and be the first to do it. And if you got in the ground floor on that sucker, you're good to go. So, yeah. All right, I got Rusty Nail here complaining about taxing rich people. No, don't simp for rich people. He says, oh, here we go, tax the rich. Okay, steal from rich people. Theft is theft. Just because you need money to pass a bill, you don't create a made-up tax to take the money. It's fix the normal tax code, flat tax. No, absolutely not. No. No, 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 no. Our tax dollars... The you, me, and everyone else who's an average tax-paying citizen, we don't get the same loopholes rich assholes get. We don't. We do not get it at all. You've got folks like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk that not only don't pay any money in taxes, they get a whole bunch of tax money back in the form of subsidies, in the form of welfare for workers. The Waltons get something like $23 billion a year of what should be money that they pay to their workers, instead goes to our tax dollars paying the workers welfare, because they don't get a living wage. They get food stamps, they get welfare checks, they get housing assistance, and that's all subsidies that go to the rich families like the Waltons. They're not paying their fair share, and they're making a boatload of money off the infrastructure that was created by our tax dollars. The roads that they ship their goods on, paid for by tax dollars. The infrastructure that they sell their goods through, the internet, things like that, paid for by our tax dollars. The ports that their goods pass through, paid for by our tax dollars. Their workforce, trained by our tax dollars. The risk management, the safety of their investments, managed by the regulatory agencies and police and fire and all those things that keep their investments safe, paid for by our tax dollars. The rich folks in our country do not pay their fair share. They have never paid their fair share, and they make a boatload of money off the infrastructure our tax dollars pay for. They should be grateful of the system we have in place, that they get to make as much wealth as they do off these things. Elon Musk today was talking about how the government needs to plan its finances better. Elon Musk has been floated by the U.S. government and subsidies and contracts from the U.S. government for the last decade. Tesla and SpaceX were about to go financially insolvent a couple of years ago and got a $4 billion injection from the U.S. government. Elon Musk should be thanking his lucky stars that our tax dollars exist in the first place. And how much in taxes did Elon Musk pay? Zippo, zero, nothing. Not only that, he just moved his corporation out of California to Texas to pay even less in taxes. Right? So, I'm going to fuck these guys. Fuck these rich assholes And the fact that people are going to simp for them and say, oh, you're stealing from the rich people, eat a bag of dicks. I'm going to say that right now, Rusty Nail. I love you, but you're wrong, and you're absolutely dead wrong on this. The rich folks in this country need to not only pay their fair share, they need to pay a whole bunch of money that they never paid in the first place, that made our country what it is today and made the world the system that it is, that they can benefit off of in the way they have for the last fucking 300 years. So they need to pay a lot more in taxes, way more. They need to pay into the system they benefit from, and they need to make it so that you know, the average person doesn't pay way more of their net worth in taxes than the filthy rich people. I pay more taxes than Jeff Bezos. I pay infinitely more taxes than Jeff Bezos. I pay more taxes than Amazon, a company worth trillions of dollars that does hundreds of billions of dollars of sales every year. I pay more taxes. The average employee, the lowest paid employee at Amazon, pays more taxes than Bezos or the company that employs them. So no, it's not stealing from the rich people. It's paying their fair share for utilizing the infrastructure that exists that was paid for by our tax dollars. So yeah, I'm going to go on a rant about that. And there you go. Boom. Pay your taxes. We exist. It's the price of living in a society. You got to pay for it somehow. There. Okay. Glass of water. Calm down. But thank you for donating, everybody, to such a wonderful charity today. As we talk, as a rage about rich people not paying their taxes. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. So yeah. So like, for example, Warren Buffett just made $50 billion doing nothing. His net worth is about $50 billion in one trade by one rando person trading 3 shares of his stock, and he gained 50% in value for his entire net worth in that moment. And yeah, is he gonna pay taxes on that? No, he's not. He's not gonna pay taxes on it at all. Okay. Okay. Rusty Nail. No, it's California won't slide in the ocean. Wrong kind of plate there. We can go to the map there. So, California won't slide in the ocean because the San Andreas Fault is moving tangentially. They're moving, it's strike slip. They're moving this way. So, you don't get unstable land. You don't get tsunamis from plates that are this chunk of the plate's moving north, and this chunk of the plate is basically moving south, and they're kind of grinding each other. You'll get it from subduction zones where you get lots of buildup of land as the plate's diving under, and when there's a big slip, flunk, that land can drop or it can raise a whole bunch in one earthquake, and that will upwell a huge chunk of ocean, and that's what will make those tsunamis. So when this plate right here, when the Juan de Fuca plate finally has big movement against the continental plate, we'll probably have a huge tsunami from that because it's been 300 years. And the last time we had a tsunami went across the ocean and wiped out a chunk of Japan on January 28th, 1700. Okay. Hey, Grandpa Barney's in. Hey, Grandpa Barney. We kind of didn't get the worst of that power storm. I just had my internet go out for a while, and everything was all right. Power blinked a couple of times. It was on the other side in the south part of the sound that had all their power outages. So hopefully you weren't called to go work on their power lines. You get to have a nice day off. I probably was on call all day waiting. Okay. All right. Hochi Gaming, thoughts on labor shortage when no one is hiring? I have a BS in CS and speak Spanish and Japanese fluently, but can't get a job. Seems like an employer's fault. Man, depends on where you're applying, I guess. So the labor shortage, I think, is multiple problems. One, you had a bunch of folks that when the lockdown happened, and everyone was kind of furloughed, they found other things to do, and they realized, like, hey, I don't like the job I have. I'm going to find a new one. So you have people that moved into new careers, started businesses, work from home, whatever. You also have a whole bunch of people that died. You know, statistically, there's probably about 1 million more Americans died in the last 18 months than were expected. So a lot of folks died. You also had 2 million early retirements, unexpected early retirements. Boomers were like, yeah, I'm not going to work in this environment. I'm out. And that happened. You had 3 million women leave the workforce because they couldn't afford childcare anymore. And they had to be at home while their kids, who couldn't be at school, were at school. Well, we're not at school and they were at home. So that right there removes 6 million people from the workforce, and we are short 5 million jobs. Okay, we're short 5 million workers. Yeah, we definitely need workers. Although I've been hearing from folks that they apply to jobs and never hear back. Like, people are like, oh, so desperate for workers, and they're like applying to jobs and they're just not hearing back from companies. So it seems to be quite the norm happening. Yeah, but it might be one of the few instances where we see salaries go up quite a bit. But the problem is we got so much inflation in the last 5 months that it might not make a difference for, like, cost of living. They might not see any improvement in their cost of living as a result. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. I've seen people talk about flat tax. Flat tax, like, Steve Forbes was the one that presented the flat tax, and the way he made the flat tax was that the United States government would be short $3.5 trillion a year with his flat tax. Not enough money was raised at all. Also, you know, you got a flat tax, they're still going to have loopholes, right? Like you have a flat tax of 15% or whatever. You're still going to have loopholes in there. The flat tax does not guarantee that 15% is going to be actually paid in taxes, because you're going to have them donating to charities, creating foundations, investing into losing companies. Where I live, there's tons of rich people that invest into making like a store of some kind that will sell on a wicker and candles, and no one works there. No one makes any money off the place. It just loses money because it's a huge tax write-off for some rich guy. And they figure out all sorts of crazy loopholes for this stuff, and they've got access to things that you and I never will. So even if there's a flat tax, they're going to utilize that flat tax and pay even less. Progressive taxes are the only way to go for those rich folks. And the wealth tax probably is another excellent way to do it, to get them to pay their fair share for how much wealth they have and how much money they're making. Okay. Consumption tax is good too. I agree. I agree with the consumption tax. Yeah. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. All right, Sue Marshall says meme stocks are being kept in boring range, bound state, while pump and dumps are all over the media. All planned, a war of attrition. I think you're right. Yeah. They want to distract lots of pump and dumps. And, you know, some folks are making out like bandits with some of those. So, yeah. Swirly, Tesla paid back their government loans, though, with interest. Isn't that just good investing from the government? Well, government loans, yes, but not subsidies. They've gotten lots of subsidies from the government. So there's still a whole bunch of money that's keeping people afloat. Like you and I, we're not going to get a $4 billion loan from the government. Like, hey, government, can I get a $4 billion loan for making a new company? They're not going to do that for us. They're going to do it for the really rich guys. They can get a $4 billion loan. And yeah, and then they see their net worth increase $200 billion over the course of 10 years. And they're still not paying any taxes. So, yeah. Okay. Man, we're over $1,000. Oh, I haven't done any thank yous in a while. Let's scroll up and thank some folks for donating. Okay. That's anonymous and Wetson. Okay. So, thank you, Disembodied Remains of Manifest Density. Thank you so much. Thank you, Swirly. That's a good, simple name right there. I like that one. Let the two just push us over. And thank you, Sheep Duck and Cow You. Thank you for donating. Thank you, another anonymous. All right. That pushes over $1,000. Fantastic, guys. We've raised over $1,000 for the MS Society today. So give yourself a nice pat on the back. Yeah. All right. Good job. Good job, everybody. Get me going angry rants and still donating money. All right. Okay. Oh, I got a message from someone earlier today saying that they're trying to transfer from SoFi to Fidelity, and was like a month in, and SoFi was like, yeah, we don't have your GameStop shares, sorry. So like SoFi never actually had the shares to facilitate the trade, and they can't seem to find physical shares in order to facilitate that trade. Now, that would seem to me that it would be SoFi's responsibility to perhaps margin call somebody, whoever they lent those shares to, like, hey, we get them back now. They're being recalled. And but SoFi can't find them, and they can't find physical shares anywhere to enable that transfer from SoFi into Fidelity. It's happening a lot. Somebody was doing a trade from, is it E-Trade into Fidelity, and they were told it's going to take 8 weeks to make that trade happen, that transfer happen. So I think what we're seeing now is that the shares are just not anywhere to be found, that they are tied up, and it's going to cost a fortune to get those shares, get those physical shares. You may have to buy 100 shares to get one physical share out of that pool. So it's going to make the average cost of those shares just skyrocket. We're getting into the realm of actual market cap for these companies. If you guys remember, bring up calculator again. Scene, turn off the Earth, turn off the Chrome, got the calculator. So currently, what, 180 today? Was that about where GameStop was? 175? The quickest way for me to get there is to go here and just look at it. 177. So GameStop's 177. 177. And right now, they've got 73 million shares or so, right? So that should be 12.9 billion, about $13 billion market cap. But if no physical shares can be found, then there are just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of nakeds out there, and those 73 million shares are tied up and not being let go by those who have them, and everyone else has synthetics. And so if those synthetics are 2 billion, right? There's 2 billion synthetics out there, and the average price is $177. The actual market cap of GameStop is $354 billion, which means that those 73 million shares are actually worth $4,849 each. So if there's 2 billion synthetics out there, then every share of GameStop is worth almost $5,000. And that's why SoFi can't facilitate that transfer into Fidelity, because they're going to have to buy $5,000 of shares for every one physical share they need to transfer in. And this is the true market cap that I've been harping on for, 8-10 months or so. I did a piece on it for, I think it was in our GME in Reddit back in like February, where it's discussing the possibilities of what the true value of every single physical share was. and it's just going up because all they've done is short more and more and more and more, and created more naked synthetics out there. So the true value of the GameStop shares is only increased. And the minute they try to buy all those shares, the volume's going to go spike, and then this is just going to go up and up and up and up. Our peak is what, 348, right? So if there's 2 billion synthetics at $348 a share, that's $696 billion, which means at that time, those 73 million shares were each worth about $10,000, $9,500 is what every physical share of GameStop was worth at the last peak back in June. So, yeah, they did. I don't think they had the shares, and I think this just means if NFT dividend is issued, everyone's up shit creek, except for us. We're gonna do really, 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 really well. Yeah. There you go. All right. Back to Big Houston. All right. Ta-da. Oh, got people trying to get me to talk religion now. I can talk about religion, but yeah. But Diamond in the Hand's asking, Houston, do you believe in the God of the Bible? Not really. No, I don't. There may be a God out there, but I don't think any religion has it right. I think every religion was created by dudes, and those dudes all had motives and bias, and they wrote that stuff in there. And if there's a higher being, there's a higher being. But I don't think that there's a one that's like active in manipulating things and tweaking and doing stuff like that. Because, I mean, look at the millions and millions of scientists that exist and have existed throughout history, and the billions of experiments that have been done, by students, by scientists, by others. And those controlled experiments result in the same outcome every single solitary time whenever you do an experiment. You should not get an outcome that differs if you set up the experiment the same way. It should be the same every single solitary time. Not once has a deity stepped in and changed the outcome of one of these experiments. Been like, you know what? You might throw that ball 1,000 times in the air in a row, but on the 997th time, it's going to fly to the moon and never come back. We've never seen that. And I was reading an article about a woman. She had made the first discovery of fossilized soft tissue, and it was in frogs that were like 1 million years old. It's fossilized frogs, and they cracked open the bones, and they found like bone marrow inside that had been preserved. And she was getting tons of flack from creationists who believe the Earth was 5,000 or 6,000 years old, and they're saying that she's terrible and she's a bad person and influenced by Satan and all this stuff. And she was talking about her own religious faith. She was a Christian. I think she worked at Duke, if I remember correctly, or maybe UNC. And she was saying, hey, like, I go to church every Sunday. I believe in God, all this stuff. And she's like, but when I work as a scientist and I go into the laboratory, I have to take that belief system and put it over here and just deal with what's in front of me. I can't expect that the outcome of my experiments are going to be changed by any deity or any force anywhere. All I can do is make an experiment and repeat it and get the same result for verification. And someone else does the same thing and verifies it again. So if there is an all-seeing power, all-powerful being, I think it's kind of a beautiful concept to think of it as like, hey, I made this universe go bing, and then 13.8 billion years later, there's some guy in a Hawaiian shirt talking on YouTube as a result. To me, like, that's like a trick shot that Minnesota Fats would just be in awe of. Just call the 8-ball in the pocket there. But no, I've tried to read everything. I try to understand every religion I can. I wish I had the language skills to read the Torah in Hebrew and the Quran in Arabic and the Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit, but I don't. So I got to read the translated versions. But I like to fill my brain with all that stuff. and learn about it and learn about the histories and customs and traditions and laws. And yeah, so it's fun. Okay. Boom. Oscar 13 Fidelity just purchased all my transfers from Robinhood. Why would those be all transfers? I'm sure. I don't know what you're asking there. I'll have to, I don't know. Oh, Chris Rostachik, you're still in a 1 month Twitter jailing because of your diarrhea jokes against Robinhood. Well, buddy, we'll be waiting for you. I have never had like a 1 month ban from Twitter except for when they deleted my account after I made a Putinesca joke. But I get them all the time from Facebook. Facebook is just the worst. It's absolutely. I got a 30-day ban from Facebook for explaining what manifest destiny was to somebody. Someone's like, "What's manifest destiny?" I'm like, "Oh, this was the philosophical drive that God said to white people, hey, conquer this country and kill as many natives as you can." And Facebook said, "That's hate speech. You're going to jail for 30 days. That's literally what manifest destiny was. And yeah, so I've been in and out of Facebook jail so much. Yeah. Okay, 3:29. I got a few more minutes here, and then I've got to go help my mother figure out how to do DocuSigns on her computer. All right. All right. So we got Anonymous donating another $20. Fantastic. Oh shoot! I just lost my. There's Anonymous. Another Anonymous donation. We got Only BLSP Black Death donated. Thank you. That's quite the name. There was a liquor from Iceland that was called Black Death, and a friend brought it back, and she got wild with it. And 2 donations from Anonymous. Thank you so much. 2 more donations from Anonymous. Thank you guys. Yeah. Disembodied Remains Manifest Density says, "Hey, don't drag me into this." Sorry. Abel says, Houston, do you think during MOAS we'll see brokerages foul play again? Oh, heck yeah. Some of them won't survive MOAS, I think, which is why it's probably good to... that's why I have my bulk of my stuff in Fidelity, because Fidelity is their own clearinghouse, and they didn't turn off the buy button last time, and they seem pretty solid the last time around, and they seem prepared. And they also own a whole bunch of GME. So they stand to make a fortune off of this themselves. So they've taken this side of it. Okay. Houston, do you believe we live in a simulation? No. I mean, if we do, all the glitches that would be in a simulation have so far escaped me. I do think it was brilliant in The Matrix to have deja vu. That was a really brilliant tact for, being like, oh, it's a glitch in The Matrix. They changed something. Because I've had deja vu before. I remember as a kid, like having a dream that involved this one building, and I'd never seen the building before. And then going to a town while we were like on a camping trip, and then there was the building I had a dream about. Like that was weird. So I've had like moments of deja vu, and I don't know if it was premonition or if it was just coincidence that 2 buildings can look alike, one that I imagine and one that exists. I've had weird moments where have you ever like been reading a book or a newspaper, and there might be a radio on or something, and you read a sentence that's being sung by somebody at the exact same moment. It happened to me just the other day. My roommate was talking to me while I was reading and trying to like do both at the same time. And then he said the exact words I was reading in an article, and just sometimes you get weird coincidences like that meet up. Okay. Topical TV. Next month, can we do charity for men's health? No Shave November influence. Oh, we can do that. You will see me grow one hell of a beard for November. I shave the morning of November 1st. I actually shave. It's the only time of year I shave my face clean. Because normally I just kind of just take the trimmer and just shave whatever beard off. I grow the beard for the entire month of November, and then I give myself one hell of a mustache on December 1st. And my friends and I do a mustache competition every year. And I win every year because A, I can grow more of a mustache than they can, and B, I can actually carve stuff into it. So in years past, I've done like Pac-Man and Ghost with feeder pellets. I did a semi-truck and the mud flap lady. I did a man in a leash and a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. I did the Death Star blowing up Alderaan. I did an X-Wing fighter and a TIE fighter. Other ones have I done? I do weird geometric shapes a lot because sometimes I'll try to make something. Like I tried to do the X-Wing fighter and TIE fighter a couple years in a row, and I goofed up, and I was like, well, weird geometric shapes it is. So not December 1st, you're going to see one hell of a mustache, and I'll wear it for a few days. People are like, what is going on? Well, it's a mask this year, so people won't see it. But you'll see on the internet, you'll see my weird mustache. So yeah, they're fun. They're fun to do. That's a good idea. Good idea, Talkable TV. We'll do a men's health charity, maybe for, I don't know, prostate cancer or something. I'll find one. We'll do one for November that's for men's health. Yeah. All right. Cool. Braves, Astros, who you got? Oh man. On Twitter, I was talking about last night how I dislike the ownership of both teams so much. Probably the Astros. I think the Astros are probably the more solid team. They're the ones that have been here before. They're the ones that know how to cheat and win. So they probably have all sorts of clever ways of cheating right now that people haven't found out yet. But I'm going to take the Astros. I thought the Dodgers were going to go the whole way, and I was wrong about that. So, my picks are terrible. But Astros, I'm picking the Astros, which means the Braves are going to win. Okay. All right. I got about 5 minutes, and then I'm done for the day. Shave Moas into your beard. Hey, maybe I could do like a GME Moas related one. I don't know if I want ass on one side of my face though. Mo ass. People are like, what is that? That'd be funny. He wants Mo ass. Oh, I do. Oh. Bullish says, I hope they both lose. Me too. Like, oh. Yeah, I bought Bene on Monday and it didn't do anything. Pre-market was going nuts. I'm like at where I bought basically. I don't know, I'm a little bit down because it kind of went down a little bit. So the speculation on Bene did not pan out for me at all. But whatever. Such is life. Every time you lose, it's just tax write-off, right? All right. So what we got? Dead broke investments. What do we look at that indicates the actual number of shares in the market prior to GameStop? You mean like GameStop shares, like the number of synthetic shares we think exist? There's a few ways folks have come to calculations that have sort of met with those calls. It started with investors in Sweden. So Sweden announces how many shares of a particular stock people in their country own, and then talks about the total number of shares volume around the world in relation to that. And this was back in February, and it came to, several hundred million shares, like 500 million shares minimum is what had to be out there for GameStop. And then we had crazy high volume days where like 14 times the volume of what was in the float traded in like 3 days, which didn't make any sense because we don't sell. The holders of GameStop don't sell. They keep their shares, they sit on their shares, and they don't sell them. They just buy more. So how on earth are you going to trade 14 times the actual float in 3 days if the people who own the shares aren't selling them? There's not enough day traders on this stock to make that happen. And then we had instances where people transferred from one brokerage to another, and then when they got their shares transferred, say Robinhood into Fidelity, it showed the cost basis of each one of those shares at GameStop being like $3,500 per share. So that led people to believe, maybe that true market cap is a thing, that maybe there is billions of shares out there. And then Get It Got did a couple of surveys of American investors, and those surveys resulted in, essentially a billion or more shares owned by just Americans. And Americans, we represent 60% of the investment in traditional investments, and foreign investors outside the United States are the other 40%. So if that's the case, I can do a quick little math here. Bring up the scene calculator. So the conservative estimate for Get It Got survey had like I think it was, I forget what it was, but let's just say it's 1 billion, right? So a billion shares, and Americans are traditionally 60% of that market. So that's I did that wrong. Then multiply that sucker by 100, and that would be oh crap, nope, I did that wrong. 0.6, 60%, which means do screw my calculator. 1 billion divided by 60, and then that's 1%, and multiply that sucker by 100, which would mean there'd be 1.67 billion shares in existence. That's on the conservative side of Get It Got survey. So the upper side had it at like 9 billion or something crazy like that. The not conservative estimate based off those two surveys. And he did the survey again as a control survey with Apple stock, and found that it confirmed that there's probably way more shares in existence of GameStop than what should be. So those are the main ways that we estimate this stuff. So I am very curious to see what happens when push comes to shove and they have to recall those shares. Just how many have to get bought? It's gonna be crazy. Okay, guys, I gotta get going. Gotta go help my mom with her computer. I want to thank everybody for donating today. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you so much. We raised over $1,000 for the Multiple Sclerosis Society. That's fantastic. You guys did a fantastic job. Next month, November, we're going to do some sort of charity for men's health, because why not? It's No Shade November, Movember, as it were. And I want to thank you for your questions. I want to thank you for getting me riled up, because it's fun to get riled up sometimes. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's regular show, provided there aren't any more windstorms coming our way. So regular show sometime 12:30 to 1:30ish, whenever I can get my act together and get on here. We'll be doing our regular show tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Thank you, and here is your present. Bye-bye.